Tonight, the 45th Assembly of First Nations Annual General Assembly kicks off in Montreal.
Information has led our officers to know that a currently unidentified 13 or 14-year-old female was also exploited by this group.
RCMP in Manitoba announced charges of human trafficking of 2 teenage girls.
Who's the biggest Johnny Reed fan?
And who else stopped by the 42nd annual Banic Festival in St. Teresa Point, Anishinaabe Nation? Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. The Assembly of First Nations began going over their long list of resolutions on day one of their meeting in Montreal. But a group of chiefs from Alberta took the AFN to task over treaties. APTN's Kristen Achkate has more.
I think it's very important that this discussion happen with the rights holders. I agree, the AFN is not a rights holder, it is a corporation.
During the beginning of the Assembly of First Nations AGM in Montreal, chiefs lined up to the mic to send a strong message to the AFN.
But I would like Resolution 35 being struck, because AFN is no signatory to treaty, so I would like to get it struck.
AFN Resolution 35 is the creation of a Chiefs Committee on Treaties, an AFN committee to oversee treaty implementation. Some First Nations of Treaty 6 and Treaty 8 in what is now Alberta are speaking out against the AFN, saying that several resolutions on treaties, treaty annuities, education, and the medicine chest infringe on their treaties and treaty jurisdiction, and that the AFN does not speak for them, especially when First Nations in Alberta currently have no representation in the AFN's executive.
You guys are putting us in danger of extinguishing our treaty in the same way that Canada is doing. Thank you.
The chiefs of Ochese, Onion Lake, and Sturgeon Lake have now united against the AFN, saying Resolution 35 is almost a carbon copy of a previous rejected AFN resolution from December of last year. This is Sturgeon Lake First Nations' message to the federal government.
If you want to talk to treaty, Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation treaty, come talk to us. We're open. We've extended that handout to come and speak to us when it comes to treaty and treaty interpretation.
Chief Sunshine says the federal government has failed numerous times to have serious treaty discussions, adding that poverty in his First Nation is just one example of that failure. He wants the feds to stop dealing with the AFN as a one-size-fits-all.
They're manufacturing consent through the AFN. I've seen it firsthand speaking to the Bill C-61, the water legislation.
BC AFN Regional Chief Terry Teegee says the AFN will be there to support treaty talks between the feds and First Nations and looks forward to what will be decided this week.
I think we, in many respects, we're just an advocacy society, and if they want our help, we're more than willing to help their cause. But if it's going to be an issue, I think they have every right to voice their concerns. So in the end, I'm not sure how far that resolution is going to go until those matters are resolved.
In the end, the chiefs were not able to strike down a resolution on a treaty committee. Instead, they moved the resolution from Thursday to Wednesday to ensure more chiefs will be at the table. For APTN National News, I'm Kristen Achkate in Montreal.
Thanks, Kristen. AFN National Chief Cindy Woodhouse-Neepanak delivered her welcoming speech this morning to open up the 45th Annual General Assembly. And she spoke about the $40+ billion child welfare settlement. The National Chief says compensation should roll out later this year, and the Prime Minister is also expected to make an apology. Later in the day, media were asked to leave the Assembly as the AFN went into private discussions about an offer on child welfare from the federal government.
Yesterday, we received a draft offer from the Government of Canada on this issue. Of course, we have compensation. This is now on long-term reform. We have to talk about Jordan's Principle down the way. But right now we're talking about long-term reform. I'm happy for the compensation here. I think we're all able to discuss that and work that out. But we do have long-term reform, how do we fix these systems on our First Nations communities? How do we come together in a good way? And how do we balance all voices at the table to make sure we put that all in front of our chiefs? And while this offer is under settlement privilege, I can tell you today it's a very significant offer, chiefs. Your regional chiefs will have all the details of this offer. We met this morning. They know the number. You're able to talk about it within your caucuses privately from chief to chief. I know that because of settlement privilege, we're not able to disclose to you that number this morning. We wish we could. And it'll be up to you whether that proceeds or not. That is up to you, chiefs. It is a fair offer that will benefit the generations for our children. I believe it will. I think it's a fair offer. And let's never lose sight of what this is all about. It's about our children, about our future. The bottom line is First Nations families are best positioned to care for our own children. And this country has to take notice of that. And we can't take anything for granted. I know that we have this offer, but there's still a minority government in Ottawa. And once they begin to sit again, every day we don't know what the future holds. Like the elder had said before us, we don't know what tomorrow holds. That's why starting this month until mid-September, the Assembly of First Nations will host regional engagement sessions to discuss the details of this offer and hear your views and your recommendations. From there, we will host a special Chiefs Assembly in Winnipeg in September to deliberate and vote on this issue. And we are making sure that Canada is going to pay the bill for this meeting, including Chiefs' travel costs.
In other news now, the RCMP in Manitoba announced today they have charged 7 people with dozens of charges, including one woman with trafficking of 2 teenage girls. And they believe there could be more teens that were lured through social media. With more, here's T.R. Wheatley.
Executed 10 search warrants.
Manitoba RCMP announced its Internet Child Exploitation Unit has arrested 7 people and laid 65 charges. It happened in Portage-la Prairie, Manitoba, a town of about 14,000 people along the Trans-Canada Highway. Amongst the 7 charged include a woman from a nearby First Nation.
Charged in this investigation are Chastity Nicole Assiniboine, 43 years, from Long Plain First Nation.
Assiniboine is the only one facing 2 charges of trafficking of a person under 18. RCMP say 2 15-year-old girls were exploited. The 4-month investigation began in February 2024. On numerous occasions, the girls were locked in a room with adult males. They were given methamphetamine and cocaine. There was also 13 firearms recovered as part of the investigation. It is believed the woman from Long Plain First Nation lured the girls through Snapchat and Facebook.
Information has led our officers to know that a currently unidentified 13 or 14-year-old female was also exploited by this group.
Investigators won't say whether any of the teens are Indigenous as a safety precaution. However, the RCMP's Human Trafficking Coordinator says, in general, Indigenous people are often preyed upon.
I can certainly say that Indigenous women and girls are overrepresented in our numbers. And I think that is commonly known and well known, then we can't ignore that.
Moving forward, the mayor for Portage says there are plans to work with First Nations leadership surrounding the small city.
Reconciliation and working with our First Nations is very important to our council, and I can say every day we are, and so I know there'll be discussions on this absolutely as to how we can work together.
Constable Kieran D. Pira was one of the primary investigators. She's reminding the public that everyone can play a part in addressing child trafficking.
If you see something, say something. That's kind of how these investigations start. And if somebody confides in you, to really make sure their mental health is well.
RCMP believe there may be more teens involved in this investigation. They are urging anyone with information to come forward, not just in this case, but also if you suspect there is trafficking happening in your community. None of the charges have been tested in court. T.R. Wheatley, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Thanks, TR. We're always looking to hear your feedback about anything you've seen here or something you'd like to see here. Here's how to continue the conversation. If you have a story you want to share, send us an email to news@aptn.ca. To read and watch our stories, you can go to our website, aptnnews.ca. You can also find us online on your favorite social media sites, including TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew unveiled plans to address safety in downtown Winnipeg today. Details on that and more after the break. Welcome back. Another Canadian city is limiting the use of water for residents, this time in Merritt, BC. City officials are asking residential homeowners immediately stop all non-essential water use after a failure at the city's main water pump station on Tuesday. They add that the water is still safe to drink, though the station failure coincides with a heat wave in British Columbia. It's pushing temperatures to between high 30s to low 40s. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew announced a downtown safety action plan to address public safety concerns in the city centre to the tune of almost $1.5 million in investments. He calls it an emergency immediate response to safety threats like drug or alcohol-induced aggression. The plan will take the course over the summer months. Up to $1 million will go to Nadinawaymak, an Indigenous-led community resource space, which will provide a sobering center for those coming down from intoxication. And more than $400,000 will fund the nonprofit Downtown Community Safety Patrol. It aims to support vulnerable and at-risk individuals with services like wellness checks. The Manitoba government says funding these initiatives alongside healthcare make up a comprehensive approach that is tough on crime as well as its causes. Kinew mentioned that longer-term solutions and preventative measures will still be taking place, like investing in education, mental health, and addiction services.
At the end of the day, when somebody is in crisis, when somebody is acting out in the streets, we want to get them healthcare services. We want to get them on a pathway towards a positive lifestyle. But the desire to respond with compassion and healthcare cannot be an excuse for inaction in the face of issues that we see that are causing other Manitobans to be threatened or to feel unsafe. And so today we're putting the two approaches together of strong community, compassionate outreach with healthcare resources backing that up, alongside the direct action that we know needs to be taken to keep Winnipeggers and Manitobans safe during this drug challenge that we're all living through.
A new exhibition at the Winnipeg Art Gallery is spotlighting the work of artist Lita Fontaine. The exhibition, titled Weon, meaning woman in Dakota, brings together decades of the Dakota, Anishinaabe, and Métis artists' work. Sierra Bettens met up with Fontaine to get a tour.
This one is a teepee, a buffalo. You'll see the two horns, the woman. Also, these represent the roots. You know, our rootage as Indigenous people on the land. So
at the Winnipeg Art Gallery, the soft sound of a heartbeat welcomes visitors to Lita Fontaine's exhibition, Weon. Named for the Dakota word for woman, Fontaine's work frames Indigenous femininity as a force of resistance and resilience.
This show is dedicated to all women, all First Nations women, be it, two-spirited, be it missing in murder, being, people from a residential school. Like I'm a survivor of a residential, I'm first generation. So making this art has really helped me with the trauma I've carried over the years.
As a single mom in her late 20s, Fontaine decided to enroll in the University of Manitoba's School of Art Diploma program. She'd go on to earn her Master of Fine Arts from the University of Regina, specializing in intermedia. Her influences come from beyond the classroom. Her mother taught her to sew from a young age, a skill she carried in to her artistic practice.
This thimble, it represents my mother and the sewing I learned from her.
For 2 decades, Fontaine worked as an arts educator. She mentored hundreds of students as an artist in residence at the Seven Oaks School Division.
My job was to integrate art experience into the curriculum. So the teacher, it was all about collaboration in the classroom, because for 22 years my community was the classroom.
Marianne Redhead, the gallery's assistant curator of Indigenous and contemporary art, was tasked with tying the works together.
This is the first one that I got to sort of conceptualize from the start and develop a relationship with the artist on my own, and that has been a very rewarding experience.
Redhead wanted to represent femininity through color. Instead of a traditional white, the gallery walls are painted light pink. Titles written in the Dakota language complement the works.
I think that it's hard to talk about what love and beauty and justice is in Indigenous languages, but translated from a language like English. So I wanted to still incorporate language into the exhibition, but not have it be directly translated from English.
At the heart of the exhibition is a handmade drum. For her master's thesis, Fontaine created the drum to bring attention to the absence of women's participation in the drumming circle. After the first one cracked, she created a new one decades later.
The whole intent was to hear the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And also, with the hide, it resonates.
3 photos of Fontaine holding medicines, taken by her longtime friend, Dr. Albert McLeod, hang around the drum.
And this is
The 4th photo, which Fontaine took, captures the red dresses at the former Camp Mercedes, drawing attention to the MMIWG2S crisis.
It's visible, that issue is visible. It's not just pushed aside, so, which is why I wanted it up here and around the women's drum.
Weon is on display at the Winnipeg Art Gallery from now until January 2025. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Great looking work. Time for one more quick break, and then we'll continue our coverage of the 42nd annual Banic Festival. Stick around. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. I don't have much, but I have this. Those are the thoughts shared by Joey Bibongang in this photo taken by his friend Susan Hare on Machinging Bay, Ontario. Thanks for that, Susan. Thanks for sharing. How are you spending your summer? You can send your pictures to share at aptn.ca to be featured on APTN National News. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, cloudy and 29 for Halifax, 30 with showers in Fredericton. Rain and 17 for Kuujjuaq, 15 in Nain. 27 with showers in Montreal, cloudy and 23 in Val-d'Or. Rain and 25 in Sault Ste. Marie, showers and 22 in North Bay. 24 with rain in Thunder Bay, 27 and showers in Sioux Lookout. Rain and 27 in Churchill, sunny and 30 for God's Lake. Sunny and 30 in Winnipeg, 31 under the sun in Dauphin. 30 in Regina, 32 for Saskatoon and North Battleford. 33 in Meadow Lake, smoky, and 32 in La Ronge. In northern Alberta, showers and 29 in High Level and Fort Chipewyan. 36 in Edmonton and Lethbridge, 37 in Medicine Hat. Sunny and 24 in Vancouver, 39 in Kamloops. 29 and sunny in Prince George, 32 in Fort Nelson. 20 in Old Crow, showers and 18 in Whitehorse. 22 in Yellowknife, 26 in Fort Simpson. 5 in Sax Harbor, showers and 9 in Pawlatuck. 15 in Chesterfield, 21 with rain in Arviat. 4 in Resolute, 6 in Joe Haven. Happy Nunavut Day. Yes, today marks the 25th anniversary of the creation of Nunavut. The Parliament of Canada passed the Nunavut Land Claims Agreement Act and the Nunavut Act in 1993. But it wasn't until April 1st, 1999 that Nunavut was recognized as Canada's youngest territory. Nunavut Day is designated as a statutory or paid holiday exclusively in the territory. The holiday honors the rich culture and history of Inuit. Traditional celebrations include community gatherings, Inuit games, music, dancing, and feasts. Well, we are continuing our coverage now of the 42nd Banic Festival in the St. Teresa Point Anishinaabe Nation. Organizers brought in some big-name acts, including Johnny Reid. Here's TR Wheatley now with what it meant for the community to get someone well-known in the music industry.
From the moment he stepped off the plane,
Hey, Johnny Reid, where you at?
country music star Johnny Reid was given his own private tour of St. Teresa Point, Anishinaabe Nation. One of the first stops, Chief and Council Chambers, where those in attendance got an unexpected serenade. Chief Raymond Flett says this concert and the Banic Festival are meant to create unity and foster relationships that build each other up.
And bringing in big names like Johnny Reid, it is possible. Maybe the youth of today can take the festival and the gatherings to another level.
Everywhere Reid went, he was stopped to take photos, including these aunties ready to challenge anyone about being Reid's biggest fans.
Nice selfies. Who's the biggest Johnny Reid fan?
Nothing I can say or ever do.
During his 2-hour concert, Reid also dedicated a song to a community member that passed on earlier this year.
I remember Miss Lorna because she used to come to the concerts in Winnipeg.
Her family in the crowd was clearly moved. Reid said personalizing concerts is important to him.
It's always amazing to be part of something bigger than yourself, you know, and I've always had a very, very strong connection.
Reid, who hails from Scotland, moved to Canada in 1989, knows his music resonates within Indigenous communities, many of which he's toured over the years.
Anywhere from Moose Factory to Kuchawak to Nunavut, I mean, it's been endless through the years, you know. And I think it's based on a lot of the lyrical content of my songs, you know. My songs are all based on appreciation and dedication and devotion.
Devotion that this group of young adults also feels. They've been working hard to make this memorable for everyone in attendance, including Ivan Flett, who says this may be the only chance for many here to see a live concert.
In our line of work, we deal with a lot of youth and families who don't get a lot of exposure out of reserve. All these families are so isolated within the reserve, don't get the opportunity to go out to experience a live show like this.
So those in charge here will continue to bring superstars to this stage deep in the middle of the woods. TR Wheatley, APTN National News, St. Teresa Point.
Well, as you can see, it looks like a lot of work was put into the Banic Festival. And tomorrow evening, TR will introduce you to some homegrown talent as they prepare to open for Mariana's Trench. Looking forward to that. Well, that's all the time we have for your APTN National News for this Tuesday. For much more, including continuing coverage of the AFN Assembly in Montreal, you can visit our website, aptnnews.ca, and you can catch Day 2 of the AFN Assembly live tomorrow morning over on our YouTube page. The Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations will speak at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm Dennis Ward. Marcy McGuitch, thanks for being with us. Have a great night.